Hello everyone, William here. In this short video, I'm going to show you some different ways that you can use effects in WavePad to possibly improve the crispness sound of your words when you are editing them and after they've been edited and mastered with your voice and your microphone using the WavePad software. This is an option that you can try out on your own to see how it works for you, and possibly will improve the sound of your audio. Again, you can experiment on your own to see what works best for you. This is just an example for your information. And what I want to do first is open up WavePad. I recommend with WavePad, because when you use other software outside of WavePad like Zoom or Skype or software of that sort, other software, any software that uses your microphone can sometimes change the volume of your microphone based on the software's parameters that are either preset, or if you've set if you have different settings in different software. Skype, Zoom are examples. It will change the volume level of your microphone. So when you go back to use WavePad, the volume level may have been changed, and you want to check that before you start recording anything in WavePad. And I will go to Tools. Again, I'm using the Rode NT USB microphone, which I explained in detail in the first video I made for this channel, so you can go check that out when you have time, or if you're interested in learning more about the Rode NT USB microphone. Tools, Options, Recording, open Windows Record Mixer. The microphone that I'm using, it's a green check mark there, is the Rode NT USB default device. I'm going to double click on that, check my levels. 65 is the level of volume that I'm using in this video and for the recording that I'm going to do here as an example. Click on OK, OK, OK to get back out of that. So I've checked my volume level and I'm satisfied with that. And now I'm going to record the brief example and show you some editing techniques for that, allowing your words to possibly sound crisper on your system. You can try this out on your own to see if it works for you. Sample rate that I'm using for this is 44,100, which is a pretty standard sample rate. Channels is mono. Click on OK. The nauseating aroma of the alligator corpse wafted up to meet Brenda Gray, forcing her to look away in disgust. Flies and insect activity had already set in on the deceased reptile, plaguing the areas where organs had trickled out. Okay, so for this, I have recorded about 2 sentences, and I was talking a little bit at the beginning, so I'll delete that out beforehand. Just going to take that out. It won't affect the effects that I add in any way. And this is the raw audio without any effects added. I'm going to click inside of the audio space. First thing I'm going to do is normalize the audio. Normalize peak level for this example percentage is 15.849. Normalize peak level, -16 dB. Normalization method is average loudness. I'm going to apply that. And now you can see that when I normalized, it brought up the general volume, the average volume of all the audio, up to a specific ceiling. So all the loudest parts are touching the ceiling. And it has brought up the ambient room noise a little bit. I'm going to handle that ambient background noise now by going to Professional Effects, Noise Reduction, Multiband Noise Gating. And for this example, the noise gate level is -15 dB. Click on Reduce Noise, and now the background noise has been largely deleted or gotten rid of. So now the last thing that I'm going to do is go to Amplify, and this will reduce the general loudness. Gain percentage is 70%. Gain decibels is -3 dB. Apply that. And now it's made it a little bit quieter in terms of the overall gain or volume level. And I notice at the very front of this, I have a little bit, it looks like a little, possibly a distortion, maybe a mouth click or something. I'm just going to get rid of that. So now that should be gone. And we're going to listen to this audio as it's been edited now. One other thing I'm going to do is also shorten the beginning part of it a little bit. There's about 1.5 seconds here. I want about half a second. So I'm going to get rid of all that stuff on the beginning. I'm also going to cut out a little bit at the end. And now I'm going to play it. The nauseating aroma of the alligator corpse wafted up to meet Brenda Gray, forcing her to look away in disgust. Flies and insect activity had already set in on the deceased reptile, plaguing the areas where organs had trickled out. Okay, so now you can see that the ends of the words are pretty clear and the audio sounds crisp and clear. And as a final part of this example, I'm going to save this, save it on the desktop as ACX test sample, and I'm going to put today's date so I can find it easily. ACX test sample 9/2/21. And I've done a few others, but this is the one I'm going to use so that you can see. The way that I have mine automatically to save is at a constant bit rate of 320. I have these two options. Channel encoding mode is mono, includes CRC to detect errors, and high quality recording slower. I'm going to save that. So now the last thing I'm going to do is use on ACX, you can use this under production resources. There's the audio lab, and the audio lab will test your audio to show you if it would pass ACX submission requirements. I'm going to browse audio files. On my desktop, I have ACX test sample that I just created, 9/2/21, and it's uploading that to check it now. I'm going to pause the video while it does that because it can take it a little while to do that, and I will click back on it when it's done. Okay, we're back. The Audio Lab has finished checking the file, and you can see that there are 0 issues found for the ACX test sample that I just uploaded. So you can try out different effect settings in WavePad. You may want your audio to sound different for different assignments or different projects. And you can play around in it pretty simply in WavePad. One of the things I like about WavePad, I think its strongest feature is its simplicity. It's easy to change settings. You can change them back. You can also create preset settings, which I will show how to do in a different video, so that you don't forget where you had something. You can give it a unique name. You can play around with it on your own and change the settings to see how they work. And you can also get instant feedback, or I should say near instant feedback, by using this Audio Lab feature in ACX to see if your audio has any issues. And you can play around with the settings to get them just where they should be to pass these submission requirements. If you have different projects that you're working on for ads or something, they may have different requirements. For ACX, this is pretty simple to use, and I recommend people trying out their new settings. If you change any settings in WavePad, if you do a lot of audiobook projects through ACX, I recommend using this Audio Lab to do a short sample to check out your new settings before you do a longer project of recording for an audiobook. Just record a small section, test it out, see how it goes, and then you can keep those settings that you have changed and use those for a longer project.